Shiloh Sanders stirs up Sanders family rankings while battling for NFL future with Buccaneers. If the Sanders family had its own reality show, this week's episode would be a mix of comedy, competitiveness, and real-life high-stakes football drama. Shiloh Sanders, son of NFL legend and Colorado head coach Deion Coach Prime Sanders, is currently navigating one of the toughest transitions in sports, going from undrafted to irreplaceable. But true to the Sanders brand, he's doing it with personality, swagger, and just enough family trolling to keep things entertaining. In the middle of a pivotal NFL training camp with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where every play could make or break his professional dreams, Shiloh took a moment to address the legendary Sanders family power rankings. But instead of just sharing his version of the pecking order, he delivered a hilarious twist, leaving himself off the list entirely. While Shiloh Sanders continues grinding in Cleveland and Coach Prime returns to the sideline after a public battle with cancer, Shiloh is making noise of a different kind in Florida. He's turning heads on the practice field and off it, carving out his identity in a family where spotlight, expectations, and competition are all part of the daily routine. This is the story of a rising safety, a family built on football, and the drive to make one final leap into NFL legitimacy. The Sanders family, football dynasty meets group chat chaos. For those unacquainted with the Sanders clan, this isn't just a family, it's a phenomenon, a sports dynasty, a social media spectacle. From Coach Prime's Hall of Fame playing career and larger-than-life coaching persona, to his kids, Shiloh, Shelomi, Deion Jr., aka Bucky, and Deiondra, each carving out their own niche. This family never stays out of the spotlight for long. One of their most iconic traditions? The Sanders Family Power Rankings. Created by Coach Prime himself, these monthly, informal rankings aren't based on football stats or business metrics. They're based on vibes, birthdays, accomplishments, good deeds, or even remembering to call their grandmother can skyrocket someone to the top. Forgetting a family event? You're getting benched. It's ridiculous, it's wholesome, and it's somehow turned into a fiercely debated scoreboard in the Sanders household. Shiloh's savage self-omission and Deiondra's IG cosign. During Buccaneers training camp on August 2nd, a fan asked Shiloh for the July edition of the family rankings. Instead of rattling off a standard list, Shiloh delivered a twist that left the internet buzzing. Shidur's still number 1, he said casually. Deiondra 2nd, Bucky's 3rd, Shelomi's 4th as usual. Me? I'm not even on the list. I didn't make the cut. Fans couldn't decide if it was trolling, humility, or Shiloh just being brutally honest. But within minutes, big sister Deiondra Sanders had entered the chat. She commented on the rankings with a heart eyes emoji on Instagram, seemingly in full agreement and soaking up her spot near the top. It's classic Sanders family energy. Chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly sweet. But underneath the laughter lies real tension and high-stakes aspirations. For Shiloh, the rankings were just a joke. His real focus, earning a roster spot in Tampa Bay. Grinding in Florida, Shiloh's road to NFL redemption. After going undrafted in the 2025 NFL Draft, Shiloh Sanders landed with the Buccaneers as a low-risk, high-potential free agent. On paper, he was a long shot. The NFL doesn't hand out roster spots to family names. It demands production. But since stepping foot in Tampa Bay's facility, Shiloh has been anything but invisible. He's been loud, physical, and undeniably present. His defensive calls during drills have drawn praise from coaches. He's broken up passes, shown range in coverage, and even energized teammates during team scrimmages. Head coach Todd Bowles, a former safety himself, has noticed. Very intelligent, Bowles said of Shiloh. He sees things before they happen. He communicates like a vet. One camp moment went viral when Shiloh broke up a tight end target so cleanly that fans began chanting his name. And that's not camp fluff. That's the kind of energy that can shift a coach's perception and possibly a depth chart. Todd Bowles' take. He's got a chance to make it. Bowles isn't ready to hand out jobs just yet. When asked specifically about Shiloh Sanders' chances of making the final 53-man roster, The coach gave an honest, hopeful, but cautious response. He's coming along. He's getting the scheme down. He's made plays like everybody else back there, Bowles explained. There are a few tests that come up during the preseason. Tuesday night was one, and the other 3 preseason games and practices will be others. He's got a chance to make it. Translation: Shiloh's in the mix, but nothing is guaranteed. Bowles' defensive background adds weight to his praise. He understands the safety position better than most NFL coaches. And when he says Shiloh is seeing things before they happen, that's not just fluff. That's the kind of football IQ coaches crave. The climb: Sanders versus Tampa's deep safety group. Making a roster as an undrafted free agent is always an uphill climb. In Shiloh's case, it's more like Mount Everest. Tampa Bay is currently carrying 7 safeties in camp. Antoine Winfield Jr., a certified All-Pro, untouchable. Christian Izien, a solid contributor and special teams mainstay. Kayvon Merriweather, Rashad Wisdom, Tyke Smith, J.J. Roberts, Shiloh Sanders. NFL teams rarely keep more than 5 safeties, and often cut down to 4 by week 1. That means Shiloh is battling at least 3 players for 1 spot, if there's a spot at all. What makes his case interesting? The Bucs need special team studs, and Shiloh, with his energy and willingness to hit, might just carve a role there. Special teams: the key to Shiloh's roster spot. It's often said that special teams is where NFL dreams begin or die. For undrafted rookies, that's gospel. Shiloh is showing all the right traits to be a special teams enforcer: quickness, tenacity, vocal leadership, and awareness. If he can light up preseason tape with a couple of bone-crunching tackles or a game-changing turnover, he could jump several names ahead. The Bucs open preseason play against teams with questionable second and third string depth. That's ideal for Shiloh. If he can dominate against backups, those splash plays will scream louder than any draft position ever could. Legacy pressure: playing for more than a roster spot. For Shiloh Sanders, making the Buccaneers is about more than a paycheck. It's about proving he belongs in a league his father once ruled. Deion Sanders was one of the NFL's most electrifying players. And now, as Coach Prime, he's become one of college football's biggest forces. Shiloh Sanders is already turning heads in the NFL. Deiondra and Bucky are running family businesses and media empires. Shiloh? He's the underdog, the forgotten sibling in draft circles, the one who has to claw his way into every conversation. But there's power in that chip on his shoulder. It's what fuels him. And if his recent camp performance is any indication, he's not just showing up, he's showing out. Conclusion: can Shiloh turn power rankings into paychecks? In one of the most competitive training camps in recent NFL memory, Shiloh Sanders is quietly and loudly making his case. Whether it's trolling his siblings about family rankings, breaking up passes in front of screaming fans, or earning praise from one of the NFL's most demanding defensive coaches, he's doing everything he can to flip the narrative. He doesn't need to be number 1 in the Sanders household right now. He just needs to be one of 53 names on the Buccaneers' Week 1 roster. If he keeps trending up, that might just become reality. And if it does, don't be surprised if Coach Prime updates the power rankings
survivor
accordingly.
Fox reporter
With
sends
Shiloh
Deion
finally putting
Sanders'
himself emotional
back on the list.
message after bladder surgery. "We love you, Coach." A survivor's tribute as Deion Sanders triumphs over cancer. The lights dimmed and flickered back on, illuminating a moment that transcended sports. Standing at the center of a media storm, Deion Sanders wasn't Coach Prime, the magnetic football icon or head coach of Colorado. He was a survivor. The world watched as Sanders, 57, publicly declared his victory over bladder cancer, just days after undergoing a rare and grueling surgery. It was a battle that had stripped him of 25 pounds, forced him to draft a will, and demanded a level of strength not found on any football field. But Deion Sanders didn't stand alone in that moment. From across the sports world, messages of support poured in. None more emotional, more profound, or more personal than that of Fox Sports' Erin Andrews, a fellow cancer survivor. Her voice, steady with emotion, opened the August 2nd episode of her podcast Calm Down with Erin and Carissa with a heartfelt message to the man she once idolized and now deeply respects. We're going to talk about someone now that we love very, very much. He was my favorite player growing up, and I had the great chance to work with him at NFL Network. What followed wasn't just a tribute. It was a love letter from one survivor to another, call to action, a reminder of the fragility of life, and a celebration of the extraordinary resilience it takes to beat cancer and come back stronger. Deion Sanders, from prime time to patient. When Deion Sanders revealed he had been diagnosed with bladder cancer, the sports world froze. The charismatic, ever-energetic leader of the Colorado Buffaloes had become known for his sideline swagger, viral speeches, and trailblazing coaching style. But beneath the surface, he was facing the fight of his life. The diagnosis came with terrifying speed. A tumor was discovered in his bladder, and doctors advised immediate surgery. The plan: remove his bladder entirely and build a new one using 18 inches of his small intestine, a procedure known as neobladder construction. The goal wasn't just survival. It was to remove all traces of cancer and allow him to regain normal function. Sanders went through with the surgery and emerged, remarkably, just days later, cured. His oncologist, Dr. Janet Kukreja of the University of Colorado Cancer Center, didn't mince words. "I am pleased to report he is cured from the cancer." For a man who had endured multiple foot surgeries, near amputations, and a grueling coaching schedule, this was his most personal battle. And yet, true to form, he faced it with faith, grit, and humor. I truly depend on depends, prime-style humor in the face of adversity. Bladder removal and neobladder construction come with lifelong changes. Daytime control is manageable. Nighttime can be challenging. But Coach Prime didn't shy away from it. Instead, he turned it into another platform to empower others. "I truly depend on depends," he joked during his first press conference post-surgery, delivering the line with a grin that said, "I'm still me." There was no shame, no hiding, just a man determined to lead by example. "There's a lot of people going through what I'm going through," he added. "Let's stop being ashamed of it." Sanders dropped 25 pounds during the ordeal. "I looked like Atlanta Falcons prime at one point," he said, referencing his rookie playing days with his signature wit. But behind the jokes lay months of fear, medical tests, and long nights filled with uncertainty. "He never folded, never wavered," said Lauren Askevold, one of Colorado's athletic trainers who supported his recovery. "He showed us what strength looks like." Erin Andrews, a survivor's perspective. For Erin Andrews, the news hit especially close to home. Diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2016, Andrews underwent surgery and returned to her broadcasting duties just days later. It was a period marked by anxiety, secrecy, and immense emotional pressure. She chose to speak publicly about it afterward to encourage early detection and inspire other women to prioritize their health. So when Sanders made his condition public and turned it into a call to action, it resonated deeply. "But I think the underlying thing, and something I love him so much for doing because it is very hard sometimes for people to say it," Andrews said, her voice thick with emotion, "You got to go get checked. You got to go get checked. Thank God he caught it. Thank God they got it before." Her message wasn't just admiration. It was gratitude, solidarity, and above all, urgency. She knew what it meant to be blindsided by a diagnosis. She understood the relief of catching it in time. And she recognized the bravery it takes to stand up, as Sanders did, and say to the world, "You need to check yourselves too." Carissa Thompson adds her voice. "We love you, Coach." Andrews' podcast co-host Carissa Thompson joined in the tribute, offering words that encapsulated what millions of fans felt watching Coach Prime's recovery unfold. "He does it all." "Yep, he really does," Thompson said. "And he made it so personal for people to hear. We love you, Coach. We are so happy that you are on the mend." It wasn't just admiration. It was affection, gratitude, respect. In a world where athletes are often mythologized, This moment brought it all back to the human level. This was about life, not stats. Medical marvel. The neobladder that gave Prime his life back. Bladder cancer affects thousands every year, but complete bladder removal is rare. Building a new bladder from intestinal tissue? Even rarer. Dr. Kukreja described the procedure with awe. "The human body is amazing," she said. "We used 18 inches of his small intestine to construct a new bladder. The neobladder doesn't function exactly like the original. It can't send signals to the brain the same way. But with rehabilitation and adaptation, many patients regain control and quality of life." For Sanders, it meant a new normal, but one he fully embraced. In just weeks, he was walking, laughing, and most importantly, coaching again. A new mission: awareness, advocacy, and authenticity. Sanders' recovery isn't just a personal victory. It's become a public crusade. Throughout his battle, Sanders remained vocal about the need for early detection, regular checkups, and removing the stigma around men's health, especially in the Black community, where medical distrust and late diagnoses are alarmingly common. His transparency has already made a difference. Clinics have reported increased bladder screening requests since his announcement. Men are asking questions. Families are having hard conversations. That's what advocacy looks like. "I had to write my will," Sanders admitted. "I didn't know if I was coming back." But he did. And now, he's using his second chance to make sure others don't miss theirs. Back on the field, Coach Prime returns to Colorado with renewed purpose. Despite the weight loss, the surgery, and the weeks of recovery, Sanders returned to the Colorado Buffaloes' fall camp like he never left. His whistle still cuts through the Colorado air. His voice still booms across practice fields. But something's different. There's more depth now, more purpose. He's not just building a football team, he's building a movement. Behind every play call is a man who knows what it's like to almost lose everything. Behind every motivational speech is a survivor who's lived every word. And his players feel it. "He's coaching with more intensity than ever," said one Buffaloes player. "But there's something deeper now, like every moment matters." Conclusion: cured is just the beginning. For Deion Sanders, being declared cured by his surgeon wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new one. A story about survival, about showing up for your health, about laughing through the pain, about standing tall when life tries to knock you down. In Erin Andrews' emotional message, the power of shared experience shone through. In Carissa Thompson's tribute, the sports world's love for Sanders came pouring out. And in Coach Prime's comeback, the world saw what it truly means to live boldly, even in the face of death. We love you, Coach. And now, more than ever, we need your voice, your strength, your example. Because somewhere out there, someone is hearing your story and deciding today to get checked. And maybe, just maybe, that decision will save their life.